The best of money matters. Under the radar.
You're listening to Money FM 89.3, and it's now time for a special on-the-go episode of Under the Radar with me, Chua Tian Tian, where we bring you on-the-ground reports of key business events, launches, features, or developers' days. Now, this time, I headed down to Tampines Grand to Dassault Systems office to speak with the firm's CEO, who is in town for just about 24 hours this time. Now, founded in 1981 through the spin-off by a team of engineers from Dassault Aviation to design products in 3 dimensions, Dassault Systems now seeks to revolutionize the aerospace industry with computer-aided designs, or CADs. Now, the aim here is to advance virtual worlds and empower innovators to come up with sustainable solutions that address the most pressing global challenges. Well, fast forward to today, the French software maker's solutions touched multiple industries from aviation to mobility and healthcare, serving 370,000 customers with differing needs and sizes. And here are some fun facts. The firm says 90% of cars in the world are engineered or built using its collaborative solutions. And if you're wondering why your pair of Adidas running shoes perform or fits better, well, Dassault Systems could have a part to play in that. But beyond that, the firm is also involved in the building of digital twins of products, processes, and even cities to help industries test and prepare for real-world challenges. All in, the company had in July 2025 reported total revenue of 1.52 billion euros for the second quarter of 2025, up 5% from the year-ago period. Diluted earnings, though, stood at 0.17 euros, down 19% from the year prior. But what are the key drivers of growth for the firm, and what role did Asia and Singapore play in this regard? Meanwhile, the firm also introduced its 3D Universes at its Capital Markets Day, a comprehensive solution that embeds multiple generative AI technologies along with 3D designs, virtual twins, and more. But what should we know about the new solution, and how will the generative economy reshape the growth trajectory for firms like Dassault Systems? Well, a lot of questions, and joining me right here on site is Pascal Dalloz, CEO of Dassault Systems. Thanks so much for joining me today, Pascal. Really great to have you on board with us.
Thank you for being here.
Pascal, let's get the ball rolling. We've briefly talked about Dassault Systems as this French software company, but how would you describe the firm's value proposition today? And really, if you could clear this up for us, what is the difference between Dassault Systems and Dassault Aviation as well?
So let's start with the second part of the questions.
Okay.
Dassault Aviation, it's a different company from Dassault Systems. We have the same name because we have the same shareholders, the Dassault family. What do we do at Dassault Systems? We build the virtual twins of everything. So all the flying objects, all the consumer products you buy, all the buildings you can see here, usually they are digitally built before to be realized, and that's what we do.
And let's talk about your suite of offerings, because I understand they are led by Dassault Systems' 3D Experience platform, which is this business and innovation platform that provides organizations with real-time vision of their business activity and their ecosystem. But how do you segment your product verticals? Which is the most important one financially?
So first of all, we are serving the industry at large. So specifically the manufacturing industry, but also life sciences and healthcare, and what we call architectures and cities. And the platform, what do we do? The platform is where we are building the knowledge and the know-how of those industries. And all the product lines are organized according to the domain of expertise. So you have basically a specific domain, which is from the research and the discovery to the engineering. You have the tests, you have the productions, you have the manufacturing, you have the supply chain. So this is what we call the life cycle.
And in terms of industries, earlier you mentioned manufacturing, you mentioned cities. We also have aerospace, public services, so on and so forth, right? So who are your major clients under the industry verticals, say Airbus, Adidas, and which is the most important vertical ultimately when it comes down to dollars and cents?
So if you take all the large companies around the world, all of them, they are customers. But you're right, the largest industry or sector for us is still the auto sectors, so the automotive sector, which is representing roughly 25% of the revenue. and followed very nearly by the life sciences, which is a little bit more than 23-24%. With this, you almost have half of the revenue of the company. Now, having said that, we started 40 years ago in the aerospace industry.
Indeed.
Right. And this industry is still significant for us. And when I say aerospace, is aeronautics, space, and also defense, which is, given what is happening, a sector which is also important for the company.
Now let's talk about your global footprint, Pascal, because Dassault Systems serves over 370,000 customers of all shapes and sizes around the world. Where do Asia and Singapore fit in the bigger scheme of things? Do you see Singapore as a center of excellence, or do you see Singapore as a major demand market, given how it's a life sciences, it's an aviation hub as well?
It's a little bit of both. The truth, that's the reason why we have the headquarters for the South of Asia in Singapore, as you know. For a long time, Singapore has been a center of excellence for us because it was easy for us to hire highly skilled people. And we were basically asking them to fly in the rest of the South of Asia in order to support the large customers we have. Now we see more and more innovations also coming from Singapore, whether it's in life sciences, in the precision medicines, or also in the precision manufacturing, where we see a lot of investment in the last few years. The point which is also very important for us is, as you may know, we are dedicated to invest in education, because by investing in education, we are also preparing the workforce of the future. And they are the one potentially who could use our software. And Singapore is really one of the best places for this.
And let's zoom in on where things are at for the company right now, Pascal. In July 2025, you reported total revenue of 1.52 billion euros for the second quarter of the year, up 5% from the year ago period. So what were the key drivers of growth in your Q2 2025 earnings?
It was coming from different perspectives. One, if we look at from a geo standpoint, Asia and North America are the regions driving the growth. Europe is relatively smooth and flattish right now, given what is happening with the war, with the tariff discussions. From an industry standpoint, aerospace and defense continue to lead the pack, followed also by the auto sector, which could be a surprise, especially because, this sector is going well in Asia. Europe is suffering, but the rest of the world is still going well. And then after, we are also progressing extremely well in the consumer goods and consumer packaged goods, which is still, I would say, an emerging industry for us, but we have more than 50,000 brands around the world using our solution in order to develop the best product for the consumer.
Don't mind me asking this, Pascal. You've mentioned automotive a number of times. So why is automotive a bright spot right now?
Because it's an industry having to transform deeply.
Okay.
If you look at it's not only the electrification of the car, but you see more and more the autonomy of the car coming. So, and compared to the traditional car, you have nothing in common. Just for you to keep in mind, if you look at an EV versus a thermal engine, it's less than 10% parts which are common. So it's really a complete new redefinition of the products. It's a new redefinition of the ecosystems, of the production systems. So this industry has to invest a lot to transform what they do. And that's the reason why we are one of the trusted partners to help them to make this transformation a reality.
You talked about Asia, given the changing world order, let's call it that way. How concerned are you about the ongoing market volatility, and how will the role of Asia change in this regard?
But Asia is a very important market for us because, first of all, if you look at the revenue mix, we are balanced. We are relatively well balanced between Europe, Asia, and Americas. Except Asia is not one single market. As you know, it's a collection of different markets and with different, by the way, momentum and also set of constraints. For a long time, the growth was coming from Japan for us. In the last decade, China was driving the growth, but now it's really the south part of Asia and India, which are the fast-growing geo for us.
In line with the timeline of economic growth as well.
Of course.
Okay. And looking ahead, you've mentioned in the Q2 earnings release that the focus is now on high growth segments, in particular space, defense, energy, AI-driven cloud infrastructure. What are the trends bolstering growth in these segments? How are you capitalizing on them?
Because they are facing a lot of challenges. And if you take the AI, I would say, gigafactory, you need a lot of energy to sustain this capacity, and you need also a lot of water to cool. And those are creating a lot of challenges for the long-term sustainability. So the way you design those data centers could not be anymore the same as we used to. We need to come with new paradigm for the design, and this is where we enter into the game. If you want to improve the efficacy of the data center, you need to find a different way to do the cooling, and we are inventing new approach with our customers in order to make it in much more efficient way.
And staying on the topic of bright spots, the firm introduced its 3D universes at its Capital Markets Day. This is a comprehensive solution that embeds multiple generative AI technologies with 3D designs, virtual twins, and more. What should we know about the new solution? How will the generative economy reshape the growth trajectory for firms like yourself?
So the 3D universes is the next generation of our solution, which is putting artificial intelligence at the core. And why this is important? Because if you look at what we have done for the last 40 years, we are virtualizing the world. We are virtualizing the car, the plane, the molecules, the cities, the supply chains. With AI, we can do something which is pretty unique. We can virtualize the knowledge and the know-how. And as you may know, you have a lot of knowledge and know-how which is captured in documents. This is, for example, the regulations. You have a lot of knowledge and know-how which is captured, which is prisoner of the people's minds, and this is what the companion and the co-pilot could basically learn from. And also we have in our own code, we have a lot of industry knowledge which is encompassed in it. So if you find a way to virtualize it, you find a way to get access to different industry, the knowledge they need to reinvent themselves. And this is what AI is so important for the future.
How are you then partnering with the global industry to advance the adoption of the 3D Universes platform, and any examples in Singapore?
Yeah, we started a long time ago this experiment in Singapore to build the virtual city of Singapore. And with this idea that we need the virtual representation of the city to expand the capacity to have more populations within Singapore. Now, since then, we have been able to develop new capabilities in order to learn from all the information we have put into the systems, to manage in a much better way the traffic, to anticipate in a much better way the project extension, to, in a way, develop in a different way also the workforce of the future. So those are the typical use cases where AI is very meaningful for this specific project.
And finally, before I let you go, what are some goals for your operations in Asia or Singapore? What can we expect from here?
Oh, it's definitively a region of the world where we are growing. So we could expect we will continue to invest and to develop. Now, Singapore is, as I was telling you, is a hub for us, is a hub to serve the rest of the South of Asia. And this is basically where most of our talent people are, and we will continue to do this.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Pascal. That was Pascal Delon, CEO of Dassault Systems.
Thank you so much.
And this is an on-the-go special episode of Under the Radar with me, Chua Tian Tian, signing off from Dassault Systems office at Tampines Grand.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance.
Money FM 89.3